Boostly Podcast. We are in season 7, episode 10, and I am so excited for this episode because I have invited Dino Tartaglia into the podcast to give us a breakdown of what makes a business successful. Dino is one of those guys that I've had in my world for a while now, part of the different Facebook groups that we're a part of, and he is one half of the success engineers. Now, what he has done over the year is he has been able to work with some of the most successful business owners that are around, and he has broken down the tactics and the tools that they have done to get from A to B. They've just released a podcast between him and Simon, his co-founder, and in the podcast, what they do is that they look at businesses like Tinder, for example. We talk about it in the podcast, how it went from an idea to now being a hugely successful business, and they break down the methods and the tactics, etc. in this. Now, for this episode, I wanted Dino to come in and I wanted him to share some of the successful traits, and I also wanted him to share what he sees as seeing some of the biggest mistakes that he sees business owners make. This is one not to miss. I have a massive thank you to Hostfully, who are the podcast sponsors. We talk about Hostfully actually in this episode because I shared one of our mistakes, and Dino went on to explain about an experience that he had at a hospitality business in Poland and how something like Hostfully could have prevented that. So please go and check out hostfully.com. Please make sure you go check out Dino. And at the end of the call, at the end of his podcast, if you listen all the way to the end, he will share with you a link that you can go to where you can book in a clarity call with him, where he will help break down where you are now, where you want to be, what you need to do to get there, and who you need to be talking about. Go and check out the show notes, boostly.co.uk. There's going to be lots of tactics and tips and things to talk about in this. But without further ado, let's jump on in and let's have a chat with Dino. What makes, in your opinion, a successful business sustainable, and what threatens that most?
Now, one of the key things, Mark, that I think is worth mentioning to the guys listening is that you can't develop world-class business like this, or a world-class ethos, if you like,